So we've introduced you to a lot of terrier mixes, and we've talked about it in the past. They do make up a significant portion of our adoptable dogs, but we do have something a little bit different for you today in Schoona. Schoona is a Beagle mix. She's about 5 to 6 years old, and like many of our dogs, she came to us as a stray, so we're still kind of getting to know her, and she's getting to know her new environment. Initially, she was kind of shy, but in the last couple of weeks, she's really warmed up and become quite a social dog. The first time I met her, I went in to take her picture and I read her profile and it was like shy. And I was like, really? Because she came right up to me. She sat nicely when I asked her to. She had a smile on her face. And she keeps continuing to do that. But these behavior notes are always helpful because it lets you know, like, she's shy in a new place. So when she goes to her new forever family, she may start exhibiting some of those characteristics that we saw early on here in our facility. But then over the course of weeks and kind of getting comfortable, become kind of more what you're going to see today. In terms of the other dogs, she, like Rose, kind of cowers when she walks by the other dogs. They kind of upset her a little bit. They're loud, they're barking, but for the most part, little to no reaction. So it doesn't mean that she couldn't live in a home with another dog. It just means that our large number of very loud dogs can sometimes be a little upsetting for her, which is another reason those meet and greets are super important. You want to make sure that they're feeling comfortable. Because she can be a little bit nervous, we have recommended her for kids that are a little bit older. And when we say older, we're not meaning like teenagers. If it says teenagers, it'll say teenagers. When we're talking about older kids, we mostly just mean like not toddlers, like 6 and up, 8 and up, 10 and up, depending on the scenario. And all of those things are not hard and fast rules. They're suggestions. So if you have, a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old that is grown up with dogs and can be respectful of a dog's space and not use them as a pillow or climb all over them, then that could be fine. But with a dog that's a little bit shyer, we want to make sure that the kids in the household are understanding and respecting those boundaries.
So Schoona's medical notes point out an injury to her neck. What can owners do to help prevent those types of things?
So our assessment is that the injuries to her neck were probably from some sort of collar issue. And we've seen this before. Oftentimes owners will use choke chains or prong collars even. And while those are training tools, they're not ones that we encourage people to use because they're aversive and they create pain. And they can also create injury, especially when you're not using them properly. They can cut up the dog's necks, but also just in general, when you're putting your collar on your dog, if you're walking your dog on a collar and a leash, you want to make sure that they're tight enough that they're not going to be able to slip out of it. So you're really looking just to get 2 fingers under there. But if you start your dog out, with 2 fingers and it's, fitting okay, and then your dog starts to grow, if it's a puppy, it's growing, or if it's an older dog, putting on some pounds, not getting as much exercise, then you can also get into a situation where the collars now grow into the skin and can cut and create injury. Those things are things that could not only affect their breathing and their trachea and that whole system, but can also lead to infections. So you want to make sure that if you're just talking about your collar, they're fitted appropriately, that they're not too tight, and as the animals are growing and changing, you're adjusting those collars. But if you do choose to go the route, again, we don't advise this, of using prong collars and things along those lines, that you are finding somebody who can teach you how to use them appropriately so that you can use them in a safest manner if you're going to do that anyway. But we would encourage, a positive force-free reinforcement protocol, which we see work here all the time with our dogs. If you love Schoona, the adorable little Beagle mix, and you want to make her part of your family, then you want to make an appointment to visit her and fill out those applications. You can do both of those things by going to visitfcac.as.me. Downloadable applications for cats, dogs, and small animals can also be found on that booking site.